Well, one of the most prestigious awards for high school jazz bands is the Essentially Ellington competition in New York City.
High school students from all across the country work tirelessly to be invited to the competition.
One of the 15 finalist bands is the Sun Prairie Jazz Band. We talked to the band's director about this amazing group.
1, 2, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're headed out to New York, actually just in a couple of days, and that's going to be a whirlwind for those kids. I'm excited because most of these students have never been out to New York, so it's a new experience for them. And none of them have had the Essentially Ellington Festival experience as well. So yeah, it's New York, and there'll be some Central Park and some 9/11 Memorial and some jazz clubs. But the biggest part of the trip is really being members of that festival, which includes being able to meet members of the Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra, being able to ask them questions and Wynton Marsalis questions. They actually engage our kids in master classes and sectionals, as well as rehearsals where we're paired up with like a mentor from that band to coach our kids as well. And then hearing the other 14 finalist bands, and then for us being able to perform for that too. That's what makes up that entire 3-day experience, and it's going to be awesome. You're putting some of the most passionate musicians, passionate student musicians in the country all in the same venue for 3 days. That's going to feel amazing for these kids, and it's so cool that we get to be a part of that. Background. Go after that, Henry, go! One of the things that has made this ensemble work is trying to highlight the individual voices within it. And that's exactly what Duke Ellington did as a composer. He wasn't writing for school bands. He was writing for not even the instruments in front of him, but the human beings in front of them. So there's a reason why Duke's music sounds as Duke's music, and there's a reason why the Ellington Band sounds the way it did, is because that is the only band that had that exact makeup of those exact people and musicians with those exact skills. And so one of the things that we try to do here as well is, like, how can we raise up the individual voices in this ensemble? How can we look at our strengths? How can we look at the skills that we bring to the table? And how can we use Duke's music to portray that? And so I think that in a very, very real way, these students are the living embodiment. How we're approaching this is the living embodiment of how Duke Ellington approached music and how Duke Ellington viewed human beings as musicians and ensemble members. These were the kids that were most heavily influenced by our pandemic. I mean, these were the kids that just over a year ago were playing in bell covers and masks. Before that, they had to have band outside underneath tents, even when it was cold outside. You go back, and these are the same kids that had to endure Zoom band and virtual instruction and all of that. So certainly this is not a victim story, but when you think about what these students have had to persevere through over the last 3 years, the opportunity that this is also part of their story and part of their journey, I think is a real highlight for them.
Wow, they sound great.
Yeah, don't mind me, I'm just dancing.
He plays that horn like he's a 60-year-old man. They're playing Saturday, May 13th, next Saturday at 12:45 Central Time. You can stream it at jazz.live.